When did you first start having this dream?
It wasn't a dream. It really happened.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Diablo IV PTR, which I've been a part of for 2 days. And I now feel ready to make this video. I feel like I've tested a lot. And I want to be clear, it's not a sponsored video. I'm not being paid to say anything. This is my honest take on the current state of D4, at least in PTR. And I got a feeling there's going to be some pitchforks after me on this one. So we're going to go through some of the changes, what I like about this new update. And I want to be clear. Should all of this have been in the game originally? Of course. Has it landed? No. Is everything in we want? No. Is it superior to what we have in Season 3? Yes. It literally almost feels like a new game, at least from a quality of life standpoint, all right? So I'm going to start it one at a time with the viewing angle. Now, a lot of people think this is a nothing burger. You can barely tell that they have zoomed the camera out. I wholeheartedly disagree on this one. Now, when you are in town, you are still zoomed in, which is agitating, but okay. And look at my armor here. Look at the details. But when you run out of town, it pulls out to the farther angle. You have, come on. You could tell the difference. Now look at the armor details, how zoomed out it is. One more time. In town. See the details on my chest. And then when we're in combat, pull out. I think the viewing angle is a huge improvement. A lot of people are saying they wish it was zoomed out even farther. I like the more options, the better. But the fact that they gave us now a standard and a far, this is the far viewing angle, I take that as the first win. Now let's talk about itemization. That is definitely a little more difficult, but a move in the right direction. I do currently consider it a win based upon all the damage on Tuesday that has been removed. So basically what they've done is they've raked away all the leaves, and all those ancillary dumb affixes that they had on here are gone. So instead of like all this damage to bleeding and all this stunned, now you just have a blanket damage. So on this ancestral sword, you will see 50% damage. They made it very, very simple to understand, and it's not confusing at all. You're going to know exactly what the affixes do and how it's going to benefit your build. And I will say, there's nothing exciting in the itemization or what they did to affixes, but I think it was a smart move. Get rid of all the noise. Put in only the affixes that are easy to understand, and then maybe slowly add in complexity or things that are exciting. I'd rather them do that than just give us 50 brand new affixes that nobody understands and then we're just back to square one. This makes it very, very easy, and I think it is a step in the right direction. Now, let me give you an example. Legendaries roll with 3 affixes, and rares roll with 2 affixes. Now, for example, as a barbarian, I want strength on everything. That is the main stat I am looking for. So if I can only have 3 affixes, I need to know that it has to have strength on it. The second affix I'm looking for is if the item can roll with crit chance, I want crit chance. And then the third affix is probably build specific, maybe critical strike damage, maybe cooldown reduction, whatever you need. But it is very, very simple and easy to understand. Now, the next thing, when it actually comes to items, you are currently used to in Diablo 4 looking at every single item, and it's an absolute chore. It's horrible. Now, since rares only roll with 2 affixes and legendaries roll with 3, you literally never, in endgame, let me just put it out there, you never got to look at rares again. If you are in endgame, you never have to look at rares again. Also, there are a new item or a new affix called greater affixes. If I take an item on the ground and throw it on the ground, this is just a regular legendary. But a item with a greater affix on it, you will see this one has 1 because it's Roman numeral 1, and this one, Roman numeral 2, has 2 greater affixes on it. So now again, like, think about this. Your end game, you're working on itemization, you're working on pushing your character. If an item doesn't have a greater affix on it, or 2 or 3, well, you don't have to look at those either. Now, I do wish they made it very apparent which items have greater affixes and which don't. Literally the only way to tell is the little star on the affixes and the Roman numeral. So they probably should change the color or do something like that. But all in all, here is a full stash of items that I picked up during a Helltide, and I don't have to look at any of them because we don't care about rares, and none of those legendaries have a greater affix on them, which moves us over to the blacksmith. Now, we now have a all items, so we could junk all items. I've already got all mine all labeled, but when we click this, you will see over here that I've upgraded my codex. So not only do you not have to look at as many items, but now when you junk them, they automatically go into your codex, and it'll show you when you get an upgrade. Absolutely fantastic system. Yes, it should have been in the game already, but I'm telling you, if you've played any D4, or you're like, oh, I've given up on it, I hate all the storage, and I hate looking through every item, really a lot of that, and again, in endgame, is a thing of the past. So now let's actually talk about the Codex of Power. You saw me break down my items and you saw my codex, but how does it actually work? Right now we are at the Occultist, and I found this new sword that has strength, max life, and it has a greater affix of vulnerable damage, but it does not have the right legendary aspect on it. So I'm going ahead and put it in here at our imprint aspect, and I'm going to click on the Codex of Power. Now the question is, how do you actually find the aspect that you're looking for? Check out the search function that they did with the UI. Let's say I want to put on Dusk Devils, a Dust Devil aspect, and you have no idea the name for it. No problem, let's just type in Dust, and boom, there are 4 offensive Dust Devils available for this weapon. And it'll show you all of them, and it'll show you the ranks for them. And if the aspect is fully maxed out, which means you have already found the highest version, you will see that you have a little gold border around it. So for the completionists out there, you will see that you can try and get all of them. But I love that they have little ranks on them as well. So for me, I actually want your Shout creates 5 Dust Devils. So I'm going to click on that. It'll give us the cost and imprint, and we are done. So again, you don't even have to look at as many legendaries. Very easy to break them down. They automatically go to the codex, and then when you actually want to upgrade an item, it shows you the tier, it shows you what it does, and it's got an awesome search feature. Now let's talk about the new Helltides. Helltide has always been my favorite endgame activity inside of Diablo 4, and it has gotten so much better. The build you are watching me play right now is my Leapquake build for this, and we have introduced Dust Devils to it as well, so we're making earthquakes and we're making tornadoes, and it is an absolute blast. But I just want to say, hear me when I say this. I play a lot of action RPGs, and I have played a lot of action RPGs. All the Diablos, all the Torchlights, Titan Quest, Grim Dawn, Last Epoch, PoE, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, Chaos Bane. You pick it, I have probably played it. When it comes to mob density, this might be the highest mob density I have seen in a game that I have played for years. I died 3 times on stream just because I had to tab to look at the map trying to find where the mystery chest was. That is how fast mobs were spawning and how often I had to run into packs, which felt really, really good. It felt really, really good. You've got traps, you've got random events, you have everything going on. Even a guy, there's a random NPC that I clicked on and he exploded and a chest popped out of him that needed 50 cinders, and then I opened that and there's a lot going on inside of the new Helltide, and I'm really happy that they leaned in on Helltide, again, it being my favorite endgame activity. Really, really fun. Now, this comes with a caveat. I really want a map overlay. I don't know why they are such sticklers on this. They talk about immersion, and you know, when you pull out your map, you're not gonna be able to see. I don't know, like, give us, I would rather at this point have a map overlay over a loot filter. I want both, of course, but the fact that I don't have to look through as much gear, really I'm not looking through almost any gear unless it has a greater affix, that loot filter now goes on the back burner, and I really want a map overlay. Please, Blizzard Entertainment, I know you can do it, but overall, new Helltide, definitely a win. absolutely, definitely a win. I feel like it's going to be the main way people are going to level because the mob density is so insane. Now let's talk crafting or tempering, which is the new system that has come to Diablo 4. And a lot of people say, oh, they ripped off last epoch. Oh, it's the exact same system. Okay, there are some similarities. This system is nowhere close to as good as the crafting system, the Forge inside of LE. Not even close. It'd be like a plastic lightsaber versus like a real samurai sword. They're both weapon. You know what? That's a horrible analogy. Either way, Blizzard had no crafting system. Now it has a crafting system, so obviously it is better. Let me show you how it works. We're going to take this same item that you saw me put the Codex, the Dust Devil's legendary aspect on, okay? And you will see on here that these are the different options that are available. Now, when you are playing the game, you're going to find crafting recipes, and you'll just find them in your inventory, and you right-click on them. And when you unlock these crafting recipes, they will show up here. Now, for our new sword, I can add up to 2 recipes to it. You see it right here, 0 of 2. And my current options is a weapons and an offensive, and I can add 1 of each. So we will start with an offensive, and this is natural finesse. So I'm going to get 1 of these 4 rolls on it. So we're going to click on it. It'll tell us the cost and click. Ooh. We want flat damage or damage to close. Okay, very, very good. So the first affix that we wanted is right there. And somehow it is rolled perfectly, 85%. Okay, that's a pretty good start. Now I can re-roll it here. You'll see the arrows. It has changed. We're not going to re-roll it because we got the one we want in a perfect roll. And now we're going to go over to weapons. And now I've got some options. We could go lucky hit. We could go double swing, whirlwind frenzy, berserking duration, which by the way, berserking duration would be good. We can go furious, which is bash, hammer the ancients, upheaval, or kick. Kick would be good. And then you can go to bleed, which is rend, rupture, flay, pressure point. So on here, I think what I'm going to take is I'm just going to take the lucky hit. So I'm going to click here, and we're going to temper this again. Here we go. And bam, up to 40% chance to deal 22,500 physical damage on lucky hit. And on here, almost a perfect roll again. So now you'll look at that. I have added 2 crafting affixes to our weapon. It now has the legendary aspect I want on it, and it's got 5 really, really good stats. Now, let's just say that that's exactly the 5 affixes I want and exactly the legendary aspect I want on it. You're still not done, because now you have masterworking. Okay, and masterworking, once you have an item with 5 affixes on it, you can upgrade your sword. So you will see here what the cost is, and I'm going to upgrade it. Bam. All affixes increased by 5%, and I'm going to upgrade it again. So it'll see success chance 100. Now, where this is going to start feeling bad, I am guessing, is that the success chance is going to start going down. What does that feel like? Honing. Oh my gosh, one of the worst crafting systems there is in Lost Ark. If you talk about a system where they just want to kick you in the nuts over and over again, anybody that's played Last Ark knows that little like, psh, it's like that black cloud of failure. Either way, I haven't failed anything yet because I haven't done a lot of masterworking, but that is how this is going to work. Now, that being said, this isn't going to be given to you. You're going to have to work for it, but ultimately you craft your 2 affixes, you get your maxed rolled legendary aspect, and then you go through your masterworking, and we'll do it one more time so you can see it again. And all affixes increased by 5%. So that can go as high as 12. So right now it's 2 of 12. It can go all the way up there. So just in this time of recording, we have made a pretty sweet item. That is the crafting system. Now let's talk about the pit. Ooh, in Saragar up here, you will see the portal activator. And I just activated it. It normally doesn't look like this, but I just clicked on it right now. So the pit is currently opened. And when I go into the pit, you will see that the timer will start ticking. Now, this is basically a D3 Greater Rift, and it is so much more entertaining than a nightmare dungeon. You don't have to worry about go grab all these things and put them in, and you don't have to worry about kill all these enemies. You just slay enough enemies to beat the clock. A portal immediately pops up. You slay the boss. Now, this is where you get your master crafting materials. So to fully upgrade your gear 12 of 12, you have to run the pit. And I do think as time goes on, this is going to feel very monotonous, but compared to nightmare dungeons, it is so much better. You can kind of really just turn off your brain and run through it over and over again. I know that's not what we're looking for, but it is definitely an improvement and an added end game system. What I'm going to do right now is I'll play some gameplay from my previous run. You can see some Leap Quake in action and see how the pit actually works. Closing thoughts, and I do have to say this is pretty hard for me right here. Is Diablo 4 PTR a step in the right direction? Yes, it is unequivocally the best version of D4 I have ever played. Way better than anything that is in the past. So it's a step in the right direction. Good job there, Blizzard, from listening to the community and trying to make changes. Now, everything that I have showed you, should it have been in the base game? Of course. Would the current state of D4 be different if it was? Of course. Is this enough to bring back the D4 bad player commenter to play the game? No, it is not. It's good. I think it's a step in the right direction. But if you are D4 bad, you're not leaving PoE. You're not leaving Last Epoch. You're not leaving Torchlight. I don't think you're coming back to D4. Now, I do want to be clear. Everything that I've showed you is core gameplay. It is coming to the Eternal Realm, and it is coming to Season 4. So we are getting all of this plus a Season 4 mechanic. Now, that is the thing that I think might reel some people in. The fact that we're getting itemization and crafting and an endgame system and all this good stuff and a seasonal mechanic, maybe. If the seasonal mechanic is great, maybe the D4 bad player will come back. Definitely a step in the right direction. A couple of asks at the end of the video. Number one ask, I want a map overlay. I know you said, oh, it kills immersion, or It's hard to do because of couch co-op. Nah, I don't care. I really want a map overlay in Diablo 4. I also want any item that has a greater affix in it. I want it to look different, so it's very easy to distinguish. So I could literally favorite that item and I could junk the rest. And the other thing is I want less commons, blues, and rares to pick up. Literally every time a common, magic, or rare drops, just turn that into a veiled crystal or a different type of crafting material. It still feels dumb to have to pick all this crap up, which is required to go and salvage it. In the 2 days that I have played PTR, I am always out of veiled crystals. And of course, that's because I'm using the codex and I'm using the crafting system. Everything costs veiled crystals, and right now it is the bottleneck on actually being able to progress my character because I just simply cannot find enough of them. So stop with the items that you know unequivocally nobody will use and nobody will look at, and give us more crafting materials. So those are my 3 asks. Those are my 3 asks. That's the video. The video's already long, and literally I just want to hear your comments in the description. Are you happy with these changes? Will this bring you back if the season 4 mechanic is good? I'm done. Hopefully you're entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.